Hello, everybody. It's me again, stopping by to talk with you. It's Monday. I guess you can call it a Monday motivational moment, but some of the things that I'm actually working on and attempting to accomplish in a number of different areas means that I'm actually going to be dropping in on you guys more often than on a Monday or a Tuesday. Tuesday was the normal day that we would sit down and we would deal with motivation and inspiration. But some things that I'm really working on in the development of my business that's focused on life enhancement and self-improvement, self-concept and self-development, things of those nature. That business is something that's going to be the focus of 2017. In addition to the work that I obviously do in the community, I'm going to be focused on expanding that and expanding the reach of that. So I'm really working on that. I'm honing some things. I'm testing some things, but I'm really trying to touch a demographic that I haven't really touched. Not in that way. I've put invested a lot into the community, but mostly in the way of behavioral science, in the way of program development, in the way of grassroots development, plan development, things of that nature. This is something that I've been doing for a while. Speaking has been something I've done since I was a little kid. Writing is something that I've done since early in my teenage years, first published at the age of 16. So those things are passions and they're what I'm exceptionally good at. But what I want to do is I want to share that with a broader audience. I want to share that with a group of people who don't necessarily have that opportunity to come in and pay what I charge normally to gain the access. So I'm creating some new mechanisms, some new devices, apps, training programs and courses that are more along the lines and accessible from people from a different socioeconomic position. So I'm expanding my reach and I'm doing some things to make sure that happens. I'm excited about it. And the thing is, it's people ask me all the time, and you've probably heard me say this. People ask me all the time, "Why are you so passionate? Why is it when I watch you speak or I watch you in a video or whatever, you are so passionate and engaged? You speak with such authority. Why is that?" Well, you got what I call in the Greek there's Gnosis. There's Gnosis and then there's epignosis. Gnosis is knowledge. Epignosis is full knowledge. Epignosis involves an experience. Knowledge, Gnosis can be considered academic knowledge, meaning that you learned it either formally or you learned it from someone. Learning something, knowledge in and of itself, learned, is not power. Matter of fact, knowledge in and of itself is static. It's not even moving. It has not become energy yet. Knowledge with it has been part of an experience, meaning that you have taken the knowledge and you have actually acted upon the knowledge, applied the knowledge, and now the knowledge is actually operating for you. It has now become energy, and now it has power and the potential for developing more power. So when I speak, I'm speaking from epignosis, not just gnosis. I'm speaking from epignosis. I'm speaking from a position of having known something, either learned it from someone, read it somewhere, or just happened to try it and actually used it and it's worked for me. When I'm talking and I'm sharing these are things that I live by every day. These are the things that have gotten me through some of the most rough and difficult times of my life and have produced efficacious results consistently. It's not a one time it worked and so I'm gonna tell everybody about it. And it's like, man, every time I live my life like this, it produces. Every time I stand like this, it produces. And if this is what's going on, this is something that I can share with the world. This is something I can give my clients. This is something that I can put out there. And when people take it and actually run with it, they can do the exceptional. They can do the extraordinary. They can do the phenomenal. They can be that thing that's inside of them that's pushing. There are a lot of you that have this thing about you. You're somewhere, But there's something inside of you telling you that's more for you. There's more to you, that you can be bigger in your space than you are. Not bigger than other people or better than other people, but bigger in your space. In other words, there's so much more that you could be doing to impact the world around you. And you know it's there, but you don't know how to get there. You don't know what it takes to be that person. You're sitting there. And you're wondering, and see, the thing is, you're probably, if you're like the average person, you're probably around people who are not aspiring, that have already accepted mediocrity as their lot in life, and being average as acceptable, as tolerable. And so average is what they are. And what I can tell you about average people is they have a tendency to be highly judgmental of those who aspire to something greater. Anybody that aspires to something greater, when you decide that you're not going to be average, your behavior changes. You are no longer perpetuating average behavior. So average people see you as odd. They see you as different. They see you as somebody trying to act better than you are, or trying to act like you're better than them. And that's because that's the way they've been conditioned. They've literally been conditioned to look at somebody aspiring and find the way to pull them back where they belong, in the pack. But see, you don't belong in a pack. We were never created to be packs. While we are mammals and we're social creatures, we were meant to be a unique part of the collective, not the same as everybody else at the same level. We each have a unique gift. We each have a unique genius. There's something about us in our design that makes us special. And when we're operating optimally in our design, there's nobody else like us. We're supposed to stand out. We're supposed to be different. We're supposed to be someone that people look at and go, man, there's something unique and special about that person. We've been actually conditioned and trained that when we stand out like that, we're seeking the spotlight. We're seeking to be special. We are arrogant. All these different things that's been applied to people who stand out, because the average people don't feel comfortable with who they are and what they're aspiring to be and how they present themselves. The thing of the matter is, when you're I can tell you this, anybody that's walking in their purpose and living their life at the level of their design and functioning are not the people complaining about the other person who's stepping out and doing their thing. It's always the people that are in the pack. The people that want everybody else to act like them, be where they're at the level they're at, and be okay with it. Just aspiring for something will upset some people. When you aspire to be something great, that aspiration to them is actually interpreted as you want to be better than them. No, I want to be the best me. I'm not even measuring my life against you. I want to be the best me. I'm measuring my life and my performance against my design. Am I performing optimally based on the potential of my design, or am I leaving something on the court? If I'm sitting up driving a Lamborghini and the most I get out that Lamborghini is 55 or 60 miles an hour, then I'm not pushing it. I'm not getting the optimal performance. I'm not getting the experience out of it that it was designed to provide. I'm just going along and doing what any other car could do. So I could have got any car to go 55 or 60 miles in. So all I've got is an image. I'm not even getting the experience. That's a problem. Here's why a great deal of people who know there's something out there but can't seem to get after it. Here's one of the reasons why. You talk yourself out of it. Why do you talk yourself out of it? Because you're constantly telling yourself a story every day. And that story that you're telling yourself, your subconscious is hearing it, and your subconscious is internalizing it. And the more that it hears it, the more stronger the belief in what it's hearing becomes. Now, here's the danger of that. The subconscious alone is strong enough to impact behavior. But check this out. The subconscious communicates with your spirit. The subconscious is translating what it's hearing to your spirit. And after your subconscious speaks to your spirit long enough, your spirit accepts it. Now, your spirit is what you're supposed to use to interpret your circumstances, not your physical eyes, but your spiritual eyes. You're supposed to have spiritual insight. Your spiritual insight allows you to see into the spiritual realm. Why is that important? That's important because when you conceive something in your mind that you believe in, you're going after, and you decide that you can do it and you're going after it, it manifests in the spiritual realm before it manifests in the physical. It becomes a spiritual reality before it becomes a physical reality. That's why you're told in many faith systems that you speak those things that are not as though they were. Why? Because when I speak it, I'm saying that I'm living in it now, even though I can't see it. What that trains me to do is to ignore my circumstances, not in the sense like I don't acknowledge them and I don't deal with them, but they don't dictate to me what I believe about where I'm going, what I'm going to accomplish. What I use to determine where I'm going is my visual, my spiritual insight, my spiritual vision. And so I'm able to see. The problem is when you study talking to yourself and telling yourself things that are diametrically opposed and non-conducive to what you're trying to become, you're feeding your spirit that negativity as well, and your spirit cannot manifest. Also, your spirit cannot properly interpret your circumstances. Let me give you an idea of what I'm talking about, and then we'll shut this down for this morning. Check this out. I tell people all the time, I only speak positive things in my life. I see the negative consequences. I acknowledge that it's there, but it's not a part of my conversation. It's not a part of anything because it doesn't impact where I'm going. It's a part of the process. I see it and I'm aware that I'm going to have to get through it. I can't avoid it. I can't go around it. It's a part of the process. Process always precedes promise. If I want that promise, I'm going to have to go through the process. That's just what it is. It's always going to be some adversity. It's always going to be some difficulty. There's going to be some loss, some hard times, some disappointment, some delay. I tell people all the time, don't ever interpret your delay as denial. It's not. It's just sitting up saying this is where you're going to have to prove that you really want it, because it's not going to roll over, lay down and die for you. It's not going to come running to you saying, take me. You're going to have to go out and get it, and delay is a part of that process. But check this out. When I'm looking at my circumstances, I fed my subconscious so much with, you're built for this. There's nothing out here that you can't do. Rick, if you can conceive it in your mind, no matter how crazy it sounds to everybody else, you can do it. There's nothing that goes through your mind, that comes into your mind, that you aspire to, that you cannot do. I tell myself this constantly. I spend at least 30 minutes every morning after I get up and I recite my goals that are written on my wall next to my bed. I immediately go into meditation and I'm telling myself, you got this. You're going to get it. Everything that you set your mind on, you're going to accomplish. Every goal that you have set, you will reach. Everything that you desire to have for you, for your family, for your community, for your clients, you're going to achieve it. You're going to be better today than you were yesterday. You're going to be better tomorrow than you were today. That's a promise. You can do it. You're built for this. That's always what I'm telling myself. And I tell myself that so much during the day that it's just study feeding my subconscious. My subconscious will not accept anything somebody tells me I can't do. It immediately rejects it. It will push that. That's one of the fastest ways to get pushed out of my life, because I put such a powerful impression upon my subconscious that it immediately rejects it. It doesn't even process it. If you tell me I can't, I don't sit down and think about the reason you gave me why I can't. I just immediately dismiss it. I don't need your reasoning, because your reasoning doesn't matter. I've told myself that there's absolutely nothing that can stop me. So you can't come up with a reason why I can't. So I don't even need to hear you. The moment you say, man, you need to be realistic, I'm not listening anymore. Why? Because I'm not going to allow you to start pouring that into my subconscious, and now I have to process it out. You can't pour that in my subconscious. You can be talking, I ain't listening. I'm not even pulling it in. I'm rejecting it and I'm pushing it back. I'm already generating the spiritual energy to move you back. That's because I consistently train my entire existence to all be in tune with my possibilities, and they're limitless. So I train myself that they're limitless. But get this. This is where it gets real good. Now, remember, it's my spiritual man that actually manifests things in the spiritual realm that ultimately will manifest in the physical realm subsequently. Now, check this out. Every time that I feed my subconscious on things that are positive, and I consistently keep it positive, it starts to believe it. It starts to develop its own state of existence. It starts to develop behavior, subconscious behavior that I'm not even thinking about anymore. I'm just doing because it comes with being confident. There are some things about me. A lot of y'all see ladies, a lot of y'all look at a guy and y'all see him and y'all say he got swag. The swag comes from a subconscious place. Genuine swag comes from a subconscious place. It's not something that's got to be created. It ain't something that's got to be manufactured. It's just there. It comes from knowing that what I'm doing and what I'm passionate about, I'm good at it. And and it comes from feeling yourself. That's one of the things that everybody wants to talk about arrogance. This is me, take it or leave it. I would rather be considered arrogant than to make myself small, to make other people think I'm humble and I have humility. That's me. Humility to me is not how quiet I am about my gifts or how soft-spoken I am about my gifts. Humility is the fact that I know where my gifts come from. I know that my gifts were given to me for a purpose, and the purpose is bigger than me. That's where my humility comes from, that my purpose is bigger than me, and that my gifts I didn't create and give myself. That's where my humility is. Knowing that I got it and I'm a beast at it ain't got nothing to do with my humility. I'm confident. And for you Christians that think that's what it way, look at Paul say, I'm an apostle's apostle. Don't sound humble. He's sitting up saying, I got this. The man came to me directly and told me I was an apostle and that I'm this man. He always talked about who he was. He was one of the most beastliest Pharisees. He was, by all historical accounts, a genius. Check this out. It's not about you sitting and playing small to make other people feel comfortable. It's about you having the humility and the humbleness of understanding that you are living a life that has a purpose that's bigger than you. It's bigger than your wants. It's bigger than your desires. It's bigger than your images of what you thought you were. It's bigger than any moment. That's why your purpose, when you know your purpose and you understand the meaning of your design, you can get through anything because your purpose explains your pain. Your purpose explains your struggle. Your purpose explains what happened when you were a little child, why you had to go through that moment. What happened why your marriage didn't work? What happened? It's because the purpose is always being served, even when you're not serving it. Things are happening because the universe is trying to get you to your purpose. Things are happening because the universe is preparing you for your purpose. Things are happening because the universe is aligning things for your destiny, which is the culmination of your purpose. But check this out. I'm feeding my subconscious. I'm telling myself, I'm this. I got this. I'm in beast mode. I can do this. I do this well. I write well. I talk well. I inspire. That's what I do. And I'm going to be better at it today than I was yesterday. I'm going to be better at it tomorrow than I was. I'm telling you, my goal for 2017 is to take my business to another level. My public speaking business, my coaching business, my psychological counseling business. All of those things are a part of one thing. It's helping people be better, and I'm taking it to another level. I've already sent emails out to all the guys that's the big guys in the league, that's at the top of the game right now, that's out there making $100,000, $150,000 per hour and a half to be on the stage. I already sent a message say, y'all guys I ain't coming to take what you got. That's yours, but y'all gonna have to make some room for me up there because I'm on my way. And I have never stood up there and made that promise and not showed up. Trust me, Rick Wallace is showing up, and it ain't about Rick Wallace. It's about putting myself in a position to touch more people. I'm going to leave this world in a better place than when I found it. I guarantee you that. I am not going to play small. I'm going to always fill my space. And because I fill my space, everything I walk into is better when I leave it. That's knowing who I am and having confidence that when I walk into a situation, I have the capacity to do it. Now, I told myself this over and over again. It's in my subconscious. Guess what? My subconscious is communicating with my spirit, and my spirit is taking on the same identity of my subconscious, which is the identity of my purpose. I don't have an identity crisis. I'm not struggling with knowing who I am. So I don't have self-esteem issues. I don't have self-confidence issues. I don't have self-concept issues. I know exactly who I am, why I'm here, what I'm doing, and that I'm built for it. So I don't have those problems. So my spirit now is developing that same personality. So now my spirit understands that I'm built for this and that nothing can stop me and that everything that comes my way, I'm stronger than that moment because my purpose is bigger than that moment. So what happens is when the circumstance shows up, I look at it with my physical eyes. I say, okay, I see you. And I immediately access my spirit and I allow my spirit to interpret it. I never interpret it through the physical eye. See, the physical eye, I go back and start looking at history. What happened the last time, or what happened when you was 15 and you saw something like this? Or what does history say every time somebody comes into a situation like this? They just told you got cancer. 85% of the people that get this diagnosis or prognosis, get a prognosis of death within so many months or so many years. You know, that the numbers say. But see, I'm not processing it through historical context. I'm not processing it through an experiential context. I'm processing it through a spiritual context of a spirit that's so strong and believes in my purpose so powerfully that it looks at the circumstance, says, yeah, I see it. It's tangible. It's actually real. But guess what? I disagree with it. I overrule it. I'm overpowering it. I'm taking it and I'm going to conquer it. That's how you do it. You stop telling yourself stories that will set you up for failure. What do I mean by that? I can't do that because that's a story. You're telling a story that your subconscious is hearing. After it hears it for so long, it now believes that you can't. And one thing that I've heard many people say, I've heard it said many times, and I've said it many times. Both people, the person who says that I can and the person who says I can't, are usually both right. The person who says I can and the person who says I can't are usually both right. What you're telling yourself about who you are, what your future holds, is what your future holds, because you're setting the belief system and the limitations of your life through your mind. But when you decide that I can, and see, this is the thing. You can't sit up and say, I can do all things. You can't sit up and have a mindset that says I can do all things, but in order to do this, the moment you sit up and say, if I'm going to do this, I have to have this in place in order to do it, you just made a limitation. You just locked in a place that you can't handle unless you have something specific. I don't ever sit up and say, if I can do this, but I can do this. And I might not do it the way that I'm thinking I'm going to do it initially. I might have to rethink it. I might have to make some adjustments. I might have to think laterally, jump outside of the box, come up with an entirely new way that it has never been done that way. Do it a new way. That happens all the time. The people who are able to step outside of the limitations of the boxes that other people have created and placed them in are the people that do the exceptional. It might not come the way you want it to come. It might not come through traditional means. It might not come through financing, through conventional financing. It may come through crowdfunding. It may come through you creating momentum in what you're doing and people spending money to do something else that comes from another area and you fund it that way. But what you got to believe is that you can do it and that you'll get it funded. And 9 times out of 10, depending on what you're doing and who you are, you might not be able to get conventional funding. And you'll sit up and tell yourself, I can't do it because I can't get funding. I can't get the capital to start it. I tell the story all the time. When I decided to make this comeback after I hit rock bottom and failed and I had to start over, and I'm looking at this big mountain, just to get back to where I was, that's this huge mountain I can't even see the peak of when I'm looking up from my back. I can't see it, but I know it's up there because I've been there before. And I'm looking at it and I'm deciding. I tell people all the time, when I started that resurgence, that climb, that ascension from the ground, laying on my back, having to literally peel myself up off the pavement and start that ascension again, I had a freaking laptop and $2. I wasn't thinking about what I had to have. I was saying I'm going after it. I'm not going to sit around and wait for the perfect moment. I'm going to create the opportunity right now. I'm creating the opportunity by creating the energy that says this is mine. I see my current circumstance, but again, I disagree with it. This is not who I am. It's just where I'm at. A lot of you are defining who you are by where you're at. I never do that. Who I am is never where I'm at, because I'm always looking to get somewhere else. Where I'm at, even when it's a nice place and everybody's excited about it, I'm looking at it and say, man, I'm glad I made it. I celebrate it for a moment and then I'm back on the grind, because this is not who I am. This is just a stop along the way. There's something greater. I'm after something greater. I'm going after something greater. But here's the thing. Going after something greater means you got to be willing to put in what it takes. The problem is anything worth having has a price. And what I found out is a lot of people want some stuff, but they're not willing to pay the price. They're not willing to go the distance. They want somebody to tell them they can have everything out there and that it's going to come easy. They want somebody to tell them that if you accept this faith and you pray, it's going to all come to you easy. If you accept this particular system and you get in this system, it's all going to come easy. If you get in this particular opportunity, I don't care what the opportunity is. I don't care if it's investing on the stock market or real estate, multi-level marketing, starting your own business. I don't care what it is. It's going to require that you grind, and that you grind on GP, and that you grind without resolve. What does that mean? That means that ain't nothing going to come along to stop my grind. I don't care what I have to face, what I'm going through. I'm going to grind. I'm going to grind because that's who I am, not because of what I want. When you grind because grinding is who you are, you never reach a point where you're satisfied. When you're grinding for things, you get the things you want, you become complacent, you become satisfied, you become content. And what happens at that moment is you immediately begin the process of regression. You're going back. You can't tell because you're comfortable, but you're moving backwards. And by the time you realize that you're not even where you ended up at when you stopped your grind, you already got so much momentum going backwards. It's going to take a hell of a move and a hell of a push to recover. But you got it in you. But why put yourself in that situation? Why not grind and get everything out of every moment? I tell you all the time, 86,400 seconds in a day. What you do with those seconds is solidifying your future. What you invest in a second is coming back in another second in the future. It's going to happen. What you're producing in the future is only what you've invested in your seconds. I'm investing. I'm going at it. I'm grinding. I'm pushing. Every second's got purpose. When I'm asleep, that purpose is to recover, to rejuvenate, to dream, to set the standard, but to rejuvenate and regenerate my body so that I can grind more when I get up. When I take a power nap during the day, it's the same thing. I've come to a point where I'm seeing myself not being as effective. My productivity is diminishing because I'm tired. I take me a quick nap, 15, 20 minutes, whatever. I'm up. I'm rejuvenated. I may even came up with a new idea in the process because my mind is going when I'm asleep. I wake up with a whole bunch of stuff on my mind. And the thing is, I journal twice. I journal when I wake up in the morning, and I journal again later on in the day. The first time I wake up in the morning, my mind is totally on creative. The right side of the mind is going 100%. It's on tilt. I haven't started being logical yet because I haven't put my foot on the ground. The moment you put your foot on the ground, you immediately activate the left side of your brain. Your left side of your brain starts to think and process and rationalize, reason, and strategize. And so if you want to be creative and you want to get some creative ideas, start journaling before you put your foot on the ground. Then when you get down on the ground, you get your day going, you get the stuff done that's important to get done at the beginning of the day. Then you sit down and journal, and now you're journeying from a logical place or critical thought. Now you're analyzing and anatomizing the situation to get the true facts and the positioning. The creativity has to be merged with the strategic and logical to create the holistic experience. But you got to be able to access all of that, man. I'm telling you, it's so much out there that you don't know that's holding you back, that's making the journey more difficult, that's making it hard. But the one thing you cannot do is talk yourself out of your purpose, talk yourself out of greatness, talk yourself out of the phenomenal by consistently speaking a story that's only true because you believe it. There's no such thing as you can't. There's no situation in your desires that you can't, that you can't. Now, you tell yourself you can't. You're giving yourself all these contingencies, all of these things that have to be a certain way for you to do something. That's why you're never taking any steps, because that's why you're study filled with procrastination, because you're constantly sitting up, giving yourself all these things that have to be in order for you to take the next move. Take the move and make the adjustments as you go. The energy you create when you take the move also creates the opportunity to make the changes. But if you sit there and wait on things, they're never gonna all line up at one time. You got to go out and make stuff happen. You got to be the most powerful force in your situation. Man, I hope that I helped you out with some of this. Look, if you haven't joined the power team, I'm encouraging you to join the power team. It's way to get access to a lot of what I'm teaching. That team is growing. It's being developed into a mastermind group. But right now, we're teaching power principles, how to access the power within yourself to do the exceptional. And we're going to evolve that into people being able to look at what they want to do in business, what they want to do in society, what they want to do in their family, what they want to do in their marriage. We're going to deal with all of that, and we're going to deal with the whys you're not doing it, what's holding you back, what type of fears, what story are you telling yourself that's holding you back. We're dealing with all of that. And the thing is, while it's not a one-on-one session with me, the investment to get in that is literally a steal. You're going to have that back in a month, just in the knowledge and in the potential that's created through this experience. We're dealing with each other, meeting with each other every day in this closed group. We're also having a video conference once a week on Thursday at 11 a.m. and we're talking about what we're doing. We're building dreams and setting goals already. It's a weekend and we're already there, and we're working on it. We're encouraging one another, and we're looking at how we're going to make sure that everybody in the group is successful. If you want to be a part of the Power Team, there's a link on here that's to the site. If you go to the site and hover over Life Change Courses and Programs and scroll down and click the Power Team, it'll take you through the process of registering for a year subscription or year membership, and that year membership gives you the access to what they have for the entire year, and from the time you sign up until the next year. Get in on it. It's one way to get started. Get started, and then you can figure out what other things you need to do to take it to the next level. But you got to take a step, and it's got to be a committed step. I think if I'm not mistaken, it's either Les Brown or Eric Thomas that says you got to be committed to your commitments. And that's what it's about, man. You got to sit up and say, I'm committed to this, and then make yourself committed to that commitment. You got to cover it. You got to build it. You got to stack it. You got to just be in it. Sold out. Bet on yourself. Invest in yourself. Do something. Stand up. Well, that's it, man. I'm out. I'm definitely going to be dropping in on you later. There's a lot going on, but I'm building this thing. And like I said, my goal is to serve more than my high-end clients, to be able to reach out. I'm going to give you an idea. This is it. What I'm doing now is I'm actually on the first round fundraiser for capital for the expansion of the business in 2017. And one of the things that I'm going to be doing with the business is creating an app, a motivational app that you can download to your phone, and you can get these tips. You can get something. Every day it's going to be something. There's going to be some homework some days. There's going to be motivation on Monday. There's going to be something on Tuesday. There's going to be homework on Wednesday. It's going to be follow-up on Friday, and it's going to be on an app. I'm doing that so that people who cannot afford to pay me $5,500 to $10,000 to sit down with them, or to pay me $12,000 to come speak to a crowd, can sit down and say, you know what, I'm going to go after this. I'm going to go to his YouTube channel. I'm going to go to his app. I'm going to enroll in the Power Team, and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to take it from there. When I get to a point to where I'm actually taking what he's teaching and I create enough to where I can generate, I'm going to sit down one-on-one with him, because it's worth it. And that's the thing. Like I said, I tell people all the time, I'm never going to power sell you. I'm never going to guilt sell you. I'm never going to pressure sell you. What I got that I offer to you that can lift you up, it's got to be something you want. Because if you don't want it, if you're buying it because I done put this guilt trip on you, or you buying it because I done just made this great spiel and it's got you hyped up, that's an emotional purchase. It's going to wear off in days, if not hours. You got to want something so bad. Like Eric Thomas says, man, you got to want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe. You got to want to succeed as much as you want oxygen in your life. When you get to that point, sometimes it's you just tired. You can't, the boss says something and that was it. That was the last straw. You walk off the job. You ain't even figured out what you're going to do next, but you've reached that point where you can't take it no more. Sometimes the boss makes the decision for you and says, we can't use you anymore. And now you're sitting out there and you're trying to figure out what you got to do. And now the job market is not what it used to be, and you can't get a job. So now you got to reinvent yourself. Now you got to stand up and go after it and get it. Man, I'm telling you, the truth of the matter is, no matter how successful you are, if you take the principles I'm giving you and you become successful in whatever it is. See, success is not just money. To me, money ain't even a part of success. Money is actually an ancillary benefit of being successful. To me, successful is being able to make an impact. To me, successful is fulfilling your purpose. To me, successful is being a person who has developed the capacity to touch other people's lives, whether it's giving them advice, whether it's being a model of being a good businessman, whether it's being a mentor, whether it's being a motivational speaker that actually provides value when they speak. And that's so important. You got a bunch of people that get on the stage and get you fired up and get you emotional. But when you leave, did you leave with something you can fight with? Did you leave with something? And when I talk about that, I'm talking about preachers too. I'm talking about preachers. When you go there, are you getting the hoop? Which, if you got the hoop, man, ain't nothing like a hoop. I ain't got nothing against the hoop. But you better be delivering some things, some principles that your people can take away. When they walk away, they got something to go out into the week to fight with. Ain't nothing more devastating to get emotionally charged, believing you can take on the world, but you haven't been given anything to take on the world with. You show up there on Monday, walk into the office and realize that the boss don't like you, your coworker trying to undercut you, you left a husband at home or a wife at home that ain't feeling you the way they used to. The kids just told you, I ain't doing what you say I'm going to do. I'm going to do what I want to do. And this is just Monday. By Tuesday, that emotion is gone. All that charge you had from what you heard on Sunday is gone. And if you don't have something that you can fight with spiritually, psychologically, and that you can sit up and line yourself up with and determine, you know what, I got this. This is what I'm going to do today. This is how I'm going to assert myself today. These are the steps I'm going to take today. I'm going to be better today than I was yesterday. This is how I'm going to handle my boss. This is how I'm going to fix my marriage. This is how I'm going to love my kids. This is how I'm going to build my business. You've got to have that. If you ain't got that, you're just sitting up emotionally charged, getting the hell beat out of you because you don't have anything to fight with. You got to develop a self-confidence that's associated with your identity. If you don't have a true identity, if you haven't become aware of who you are, if you're still walking around letting other people define you by the way they treat you, then you got a problem. You got to find that place inside of yourself that says, I was designed by the grand creator. I was designed by the most infinite intelligence of the universe. I was designed, not only was I designed and built for what I was going to be done, I was purposely given this gift for a purpose. My purpose is bigger than any moment I'm going to come into. So I'm never shaken by any moment. I'm never shaken by any circumstance. I'm never shaken by any hardship, by any loss, by any delay. Why? Because I'm convinced that my purpose is so huge that I'm going to overcome it. My purpose is connected to my destiny. And my destiny demands that I come through. That's what I'm talking about. That's success. When you can walk out and leave somebody feeling like I can. That I'm going to be better than I am right now, today, tomorrow. That I have a reason to hope in my life. That's when you have success. When you are impacting the world around you. When you walk into a room and the entire environment in the room shifts. That's when you have achieved success. When you're walking in purpose. When every moment you live in, you're living fulfilled because you know you're living with your design. You're living life at the level of your design. You're shaking off every hardship to prove that what you have is bigger than every moment. One of the first things you're going to have to do when you decide you're going after life is you're going to have to raise your standards. Part of raising your standards is determining what you're no longer willing to tolerate. And the first thing that you got to stop tolerating are excuses. First of all, from yourself, and second of all, from others. You got to have a demand of what you expect from yourself, and that automatically comes with a raised demand of what you expect from others. Now, don't get me wrong. You're not judging other people because they're not where you're at. But you're not accepting their excuses either. You're sitting down and telling them, look here, this is what I didn't know my father. My mother was 15. I went through this when I was 7 and 8. I had this happen when I was 21. I failed at marriage already, but look what I'm doing now. There's no excuse. You're going to have some things that happen in your life. Life is going to happen to you. I don't care who you are. Life is going to punch you in the gut, kick you when you're down, stomp on you. But if you've made up in your mind that you're going to get up no matter what, life can't beat you. That's what I want from you. That's what I want from you. I want you to live life at the level of your design. I want you to live next level type living. I want you to go to a place that you didn't even know existed, but now you're starting to believe it's possible. Nobody in this world is better than you. If they've accomplished something more than you, it's because they applied themselves and they believed and they didn't quit. Because they ran into some difficulty. They ran into some hardships. Consult the Bill Gateses. If you'd have talked to Steve Jobs before he died, he'd have tell you that it wasn't that easy getting Apple off the ground. Gates will tell you it wasn't easy getting Microsoft. Warren Buffett will tell you that it wasn't easy getting Berkshire Hathaway off the ground. It took a lot of perseverance, a lot of talking to mentors, a lot of hard years of studying the market, all of those things to prepare himself for where he's at right now. Preparation is a part of the process. Perfecting the small things are a part of the process. Perseverance is a part of the process. You got to do some things if you want some things. Matter of fact, there's a saying among motivational speakers say that if you want to be great, if you want the great things, you want the super things, if you want things that people don't have, you got to be willing to do things that people won't do in order to have things that people will never have. If you want the things that most people will never experience, you got to be willing to do the things that most people won't do. If you're just doing what everybody else is doing, you're never going to have those exceptional things that you see the exceptional living in. You have the right, just like anybody else, to have those things. But the problem is you want to live and perform average, mediocre, and experience exceptional. It don't work that way. Time to rise up and live in your purpose. Because what I'm going to tell you is the divine, God, the infinite intelligence of the universe never created anything to be mediocre. So if you're living a mediocre life, you're insulting God. If you're living a mediocre life, just existing, just surviving, anytime you're applying just to your aspirations, you're insulting God. I just want to be able to pay my bills. Insult. I just want to be able not to worry about the insult. If you're just anything, you're insulting the Creator. You're insulting your design. Again, this is the Stephen Furtick said, man, and I love this quote. If the vision that you have for your life isn't so huge that it's intimidating you, it's probably insulting God. That's it. If you wake up every morning and you're comfortable in your vision, you're insulting the Creator. You're insulting your design. You're settling. You're tolerating mediocrity and less than. If you wake up and your vision doesn't make you get on it immediately because you know if you waste seconds, you're going to be behind, because you can't waste a second because your vision demands that all your energy be poured into it. Say, well, why would I put all my energy in the vision? Because everything that belongs to you that should come to you, your wife, your family, your business, everything that's going to come to you is coming through you living in that design. That's why you can go after that vision 100%, because everything that the universe has for you is going to come through it. When you go get stuff outside of your vision, that's why it don't fit. That's why the marriage didn't work. You went and grabbed a wife that had nothing to do with your purpose. She can't even see your vision. She can't connect to your vision. And you wonder why your marriage shook up. You went out and grabbed something that had nothing to do with your vision. You weren't even functioning your vision when you took her. You wonder why the business didn't work, because the business wasn't associated with your vision. You went out and saw, hey, man, somebody making money like this. You making the money now, but you're empty. The people you meet ain't on the same page with you because you're designed different than them. Where they're headed, you're not headed. Where they headed might be where they supposed to be headed, but you headed in a direction that has nothing to do with your purpose. Come on now, let's get it right. Let's get it right. All right. I love you guys. As I always say, I'm on down E. I'm excited, man, about living every moment to the fullest. Going to bed every night, exhausted. Not in a bad way, just in a way that I left everything that was given to me for that day in that day. You got to look at life that way. You got time. When you get through that time, you don't get that time back. And that time is never just there to be there. That time always has a purpose. Spend in the moment. Spend in the second. Spend in the minute. Spend in the hour. Spend in that moment, because you're investing in that moment. And what you invest in that moment is going to reproduce itself in another moment in the future. All right, man. I am out. Peace.